Before we talk about how the game went between the Baltimore Ravens and the Minnesota Vikings, I got to say that I really love y'all and I appreciate y'all for allowing us the privilege to be able to do what we do for work, to be able to talk about the Baltimore Ravens every single day, to be able to do these live streams where y'all come through and show a crazy amount of support. Whether the Baltimore Ravens lose or whether the Baltimore Ravens win, y'all still be coming through regardless. And I just wanted to let y'all know that I seriously appreciate y'all allowing us to be a part of your lives every single day. And I love y'all for showing so much support all the time. So thank you for being you. Now, we're here to share our post-game thoughts from the game that we just finished watching. Oh, I knew this was going to be a tough one, man. I really did, man. I knew this was going to be a tough one. I knew it wasn't going to be no cakewalk, man, but I ain't know it was going to be that tough, but still. We're here to talk about the game that we just finished watching between the Baltimore Ravens and the Minnesota Vikings, where the Ravens won, 27-19, I believe? I think we won by 8. Yeah, 27-19. I was like, my mind, this was a crazy game. This was a stressful game, but this was a Ravens game. And I am happy for every single body that went out to that game to see it live in person. I'm sure it was a lot of purple flooding the stadium. But anyway, start off with this game. Let's start off with the defense. Zach Orr, you have to give credit where credit is due. Zach Orr, for the most part, there was a little stuff here and there, but for the most part, Zach Orr called an amazing game. You were going up against a tough team. You were going up against a team with new life. You were going up against a team with nine at quarterback. Not J.J. McCarthy, 9. His alter ego. But they shut all of that. Well, they ain't shut it down, but they handle business. But you were going up against, arguably, because some people could say Jamar Chase, but you were going up against the best wide receiver in the National Football League. And you held him. Let me look at the exact numbers, because I know it was next to nothing. You held this guy to 4 catches for 37 yards. Now, some of the other receivers went off, but for Justin Jefferson, you got to take every single win we could get. You held him to 4 catches for 37 yards. But overall, in this game, Zach Orr, he did what he had to do and some. Now, the pass rush, in my opinion, it was still an issue. J.J. McCarthy, he had a lot of time back there. We did miss some tackles here and there, too. But, again, for the most part, this defense, they were put in position to make plays. Marlon Humphrey, he got that punt pick to where he basically looked like a punt returner. And then he caught the ball. He caught the pick. Oh, man, I'm so glad he caught that pick, too, because if he would have dropped it, especially Justin Jefferson wasn't even on him. And even that play call right there. Let's talk about that, because the situational play calling from Zach Orr, excellent. Excellent. Great. Especially from how this game first started. Because the way that the game first started, the play calls were fine, but it was more so the execution that was the issue, in my opinion. Because obviously Marlon Humphrey, he gave up that huge completion on 3rd and 4 down the sideline where he got just straight caught on, then moved to the side. Chidobe Awuzie came and tried to make the tackle. He got moved to the side. Then I think Alohi Gilman made the tackle and stopped him. But then they gave up the easy rushing touchdown to Aaron Jones, I believe. So after that first drive, we were all looking around like, oh, no, I hope it ain't one of these days, man. And it wasn't, but it kind of, no, it wasn't. But after that, he made adjustments. Then he started holding them to field goals. They started getting turnovers. The defense, they just, again, the score, they gave up 19 points. But when you watch how the game was going, the defense, they were really holding it down. What was the other interception? Why can't I remember it right now? I know Marlon Humphrey. Let me just look it up. Marlon Humphrey got one, and the other one went to, Malachi Starks. Oh, yeah. It was on a play intended for Justin Jefferson, where J.J. McCarthy, he threw it up. It was Malachi Starks, and I forgot who the cornerback was back there, too. But Malachi Starks jumped. Hey, that's 2 games in a row with an interception. So Malachi Starks, he's starting to get it now. Somebody asked me, somebody who came up during halftime of the game on a live stream, they asked me, they said, who is your favorite rookie from this draft class right now? And I said, I didn't have one, but I do feel like all of our rookies, they starting to turn the corner now. They starting to get it. Like you look at LaJohntay Wester, he ain't afraid to bring a punt return from out of nowhere. You see Mike Green, he made a nice play, a nice tackle in the backfield today, and he was getting some pressure on J.J. McCarthy. You see Teddy Buchanan, a defensive rookie of the month last month, but he's a starter. This man is literally a starter as a rookie at linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens. Like, really? That's tough to do. Not many people be doing that. And then, of course, Malachi Starks, it seemed like he's really been getting it now. So with these Baltimore Ravens, the rookies, they really starting to turn a corner quite a bit, in my opinion. And that's just been excellent to see. It's been amazing to witness. And this Ravens defense as a whole, like, they are showing, like, how do I say this? They are real. They are real, and they are certainly improved. Obviously, the competition, well, later on down the road, for a little bit, it ain't going to be too bad. Because we're going against Dylan Gabriel next week. Ravens, don't mess around, man. Still, keep on doing what you've been doing. But the competition later on, it is going to get better. It is going to get tougher. But Baltimore Ravens defense is improved. Because if you give up 44 points to a C.J. Stroud, 44 points at your crib, that was the lowest of lows. But then you follow that up with 17 points. Then you follow that up with 16 points. Then you follow that up with 6 points. Then you follow that up with 19 points. Y'all are doing something. You really are. And I don't even want to hear, I know people, the competition dropped. Yes and no, because Caleb Williams, you see what he's still doing. He's still putting up points. He's still the win today against who? The Giants, I think. But he put up points. And you saw what he did against that Bengals defense, too. I mean, that defense is bad, but their offense is still good. Matt Stafford, self-explanatory, Hall of Fame quarterback, elite quarterback, ball lover quarterback, Super Bowl quarterback. And then Tua Tagovailoa. But J.J. McCarthy, again, he was coming off of last week where he was feeling himself. He was like, oh, yeah, I'm a Minnesota quarterback, and I'm 9. That's it. Yeah. You could do all that next week. Not this week, though, my friend. But hey, he did a little thing, man. But anyway, when you look at his numbers, J.J. McCarthy went 20 for 42 for 248 yards. A lot of his yards and stuff, they came later on in the game. He threw 2 interceptions that we talked about, one to Marlon Humphrey, one to Malachi Starks. And shout out to Marlon Humphrey for bouncing back in this game. Because with that play that he gave up, that was bad. It was rough. But he had a bounce-back game. We were just talking about that play call from Zach Orr. And that play where Marlon Humphrey got the pick, it was on 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 4. I think it was 3rd and 2. But it was on 3rd and super short. And I loved how Zach Orr played it safe to where he had Marlon Humphrey backed up because he was like, hey, just in case they take that kill shot, I want to have my guy in position to make a play. He trusted Marlon Humphrey one-on-one with Justin Jefferson. And I was like, I don't know if I would do that, but he did it, and it worked out. Because he could have played Marlon Humphrey up close. He could have had Marlon Humphrey press because you would think 3rd and 2, they got Aaron Jones, they could run that ball. But they didn't. They did a play action, and he put Marlon Humphrey in position to have success. Kyle Hamilton was everywhere as usual, doing his thing as usual, jumping passes, swatting the ball down as usual, making impact plays as usual. Kyle Hamilton is that guy, man. I mean, we've been knew that, but I've been loving ever since we got Alohi Gilman. And ever since we've allowed Kyle Hamilton to just be himself again, that's what's made the biggest turnaround with this defense. Again, I know we're going to have tougher challenges later. We're going to have lesser challenges later. But it's been a turnaround for sure because we've seen this Baltimore Ravens team against lesser teams. We've seen it plenty of times where they give up a bunch of points. And against good teams, I mean, we've seen that too. But today was nice, man. Draymond Jones. Good job. Good job. So many of the times when you saw J.J. McCarthy scrambling out of the pocket, you saw number 41 back there. You saw 14 a lot of times, but you saw 41 back there. And he was bringing pressure. He did. So, again, he'll only get better with time. He'll only get more acclimated. He'll only be more involved. And he was involved a lot today. He was out there a lot. Initially, on that first drive, I was looking like, where's 41? But then they did have him out there, and then they kept him out there a lot. Then we saw him a lot from that point forward. Travis Jones, shout out to him for getting a sack. Shout out to Mike Green. Again, we talked about that play that he made in the backfield. I said, okay, 45, that boy Mike. Shout out to him. There was their last offensive play of the game, the Vikings' last offensive play of the game. They only needed 4 points. See, and I love this because Zach Orr, I guess he confused them enough. He had them rattled enough to where they did a trick play in the first quarter. That's when I said that he's in their heads. The Ravens are already in their head. They doing trick plays in the first quarter? Because then I think the Ravens, they can't. Well, we talk about that play a little later. But anyway, that right there was like, oh, okay, I like this. That means our defense is doing something. But then on that last play of the game where they just needed 4 yards to get a first down, obviously, yeah, they ain't had no timeouts, but they could have got a first down and ran out of bounds or something like that. Zach Orr, he rushed 3 and had everybody else drop back. But I think he rushed David Ajabo, Mike Green, and I think Kyle Vanoy. I think those were the 3, I believe. But he had to where J.J. McCarthy, he started scrambling. They knocked, I think, Kyle Vanoy down, and he could have scrambled out to his left, but then he ended up turning around, going back inside the pocket, and then he was going to try to throw it deep. But, yeah, Ravens defense, they were all over everything, man. They really were. And when they did get scores, when they did give up points, again, it was the Aaron Jones, the touchdown, and it was that weird play by Nate Wiggins where it was on 4th down. And I did love that too because the Baltimore Ravens, they kept making stops on 3rd down. They were getting, not off the field, but they were getting off the field on a lot of 3rd downs, and they were making them have to make the decision to go for it on 4th down, whether kick a field goal or go for it. So Ravens were doing that thing on defense, man. The situational defense in this game, for the most part, was amazing. Now, the Nate Wiggins play, where it was a couple of them. One where J.J. McCarthy, he threw it up, and number one, let me look up number one, man. I got to get that boy his name. I got to get that boy his credit. Oh, Jalen Naylor, number one. That boy was balling this game. From start to finish, he was balling. But I believe that was a 4th down play where J.J. McCarthy threw it up, and it was one-on-one, Nate Wiggins and Jalen Naylor, and he caught it over Nate Wiggins. I think that was on the 4th down. And then on the 4th and goal, and they had got a false start too. Again, shout out to Zach Orr, because there were like 8 or 9 false starts that the Vikings got in there. They were at home. I was about to say the Baltimore Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings, they had 8 or 9 false starts, and they were at the crib. You remember last week when Tua was talking about us that went to that Miami game? He's like, man, the Ravens fans, they were too loud. I couldn't hear the communication. That's what caused us to get the false starts and stuff. This game topped that. And that's crazy. 8 or 9 false starts, and you at home? That is insane, man. So shout out to all of y'all that was out there representing. Shout out to Zach Orr for having his guys ready and having them disciplined for the most part. Because again, that Nate Wiggins, the 4th down where he gave up the touchdown to Jalen Naylor, he just stopped. I was like, Nate, what's happening, baby? What's going on? He just stopped. And I didn't know what that was, but he made it easier for Jalen Naylor. So it is what it is. I'm glad Ravens still got the win. But it was a great job, man. Again, situationally, man, that's my biggest compliment to Zach Orr in this game. The situational defense was a good thing. It was a great thing, and I just hope that this continues. Baltimore Ravens were coming off of a 10-day break, which they needed, which they got, which they deserved, and which they made the most of. So this was like a mini bye week, and they came out prepared on defense. Ain't no love in the heart of the city. You remember that song? Well, that song is the exact opposite of what Heart of the City got for Team Keep It Clean, because they got plenty of love for y'all. And they got so much love that they are selling these Ravens Vengeance hoodies for $20. And you could use code Ingraven30 to get 30% off your entire order. So if you see a Ravens Baltimore hoodie, you see a Vengeance season hoodie, you see a t-shirt you like, you see whatever kind of hoodie, t-shirt, whatever it is that they got on the site, you see anything, you use code Ingraven30 to get 30% off, not over one item, not on select item, off of your entire order. Y'all, the link is in the description. Hit them up ASAP. Baltimore Ravens offense. Oof, this was a tough game for them. Shout out to Vikings defense. Man, Brian Flores, boy, you better be a head coach next year. Better be. Him, also the Lion. Shout out to the NFC North. The Lions defensive coordinator. Oh my goodness, is it Kelvin Shepard? He better be one too. I better see both of them boys with head coach opportunities next year, because the way that their defenses played Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, boy, they were something serious, man. They really were. Now, we still put up points on them, but I don't want to say I can see through these 27 points, but still, like, they were tough, man. They were really, really tough. Tyler Loop, how many field goals did Tyler Loop have to kick? Because the offense just ended up stalling out. He kicked 5 field goals, made 4 of them. But with the offense, boy, this was a struggle. Nothing but field goals in the whole first half, I believe. And it was crazy because the offense was close. You could tell they were close, but they were just off by a little bit. On that very first drive, Lamar Jackson had called the screen passes to Zay Flowers, and the defender had jumped it. The defensive lineman had jumped it and tipped it, and that kind of threw it off for Zay Flowers, and then he dropped it. So that just got thrown off from jump. And the way that Brian Flores had this defense playing Lamar Jackson, his adjustments were amazing. He had this defense ready for all the short stuff, all of it. He was like, oh, y'all want to try the short passing game on us because you want to beat the blitz? All right, we got something for that. So he would have his pass rushers, his linebackers like Van Ginkel. He would have them fake like they were going to blitz. They might engage with the offensive line a little bit, but then they would drop back and just almost contain. So Lamar wouldn't get loose like that on the ground, even though he did get a couple runs. But they were just watching for them short passes because I don't know how many passes that they tipped. Because they jumped. It feel like they got at least like 5 of them, at least. I don't know remember what the exact number was, but they were putting them hands up. And now Ravens were doing it too on defense. But the Vikings, boy, they were all over a lot of those stuff. Thank goodness none of them ended up being interceptions. Because we want our guys' numbers to be clean, right? We want Lamar team keep it clean. We want the numbers to be clean. Hey, anyway, Lamar in this game, he went 17 for 29 for 176 yards. Average 6.1 yards a throw. 1 touchdown, no interception. Got sacked 1 time for 7 yards. And actually got sacked another time, but they called it a roughing the passer. Now, I will say, I think the Ravens got away with one. I know people, he drove all his weight on Lamar Jackson. Now, I will say, what I appreciated about that is that, now maybe Lamar Jackson can finally, after 8 years, wow, that's sad. Maybe he can finally get some respect. Maybe. Because Pat Mahomes, he'll get that call. He'll get that call every time. Josh Allen, one of the biggest. He's such a baller, man, but the whining is just so frustrating, man. It really is. The whining to the refs, because Pat Mahomes be doing it too. But Lamar don't be whining to the refs, man. He really don't. But he actually, I think somebody said that he put his hands up like this when he got drove into the ground and refs called it. I said, whoa. Lamar never gets those. And he's been roughed a lot of times, but he never gets those. So it was surprising to see that. I said, wow, we actually got that. But their defense, they're really good, man. They're really good. They were flying around. They just kept stopping us over and over and over. Then finally, we got it going. Finally. It took literally forever. Derrick Henry in this game, 20 carries for 75 yards. I did like how they didn't forget about Derrick Henry. They kept trying. They kept pushing. Again, 20 carries, 75 yards, average 3.8 yards a carry. His longest run was only 14 yards. So this was another grinded out type of game. Physical game, physical defense that Ravens were going up against. They had to grind for every single yard. They really did. Vikings ain't give nothing up easy. They really did. The Baltimore Ravens throughout this game, they did have some frustrating drops. Mark Andrews, I think on the second drive he dropped a touchdown. That would have been nice. Rashad Bateman, he had dropped a touchdown pass to Zay Flowers. He had a drop earlier. Who else? Did anybody else have a drop? Because DeAndre Hopkins, he ain't had no more drops. He ain't had no more passes thrown his way. He got his one catch a game where he makes a nice catch. It usually goes for about 12 or 13 yards. This one, I don't think it went that long, though. His catch this game, 2 catches? Oh, it's my fault. So 2 catches for 16 yards. His longest was 9. I did not know that, what was his second catch? His first catch was where Lamar, layered it perfect. I said, Lamar, you the best in the league for real. But Lamar layered it perfectly behind the safety or the cornerback, for it to get to DeAndre Hopkins. Beautiful catch, beautiful throw. It was crazy. But then his second catch is where he caught the ball in traffic, and then he got hit. He was holding his eyes. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he got poked in the eye. I don't know what happened. But those are his 2 catches in the game. So shout out to D-Hop. D-Hop just Mr. Reliable Hands. He be making these crazy catches. He made, again, 1 a game. At least. And then you don't really hear from him too much after that. But shout out to him. Shout out to Rashad Bateman because he dropped the ball earlier, but then he made up for it multiple times because he had a nice catch. I think it was right the play after he dropped it. He had a nice catch that gave them the first down, and then he had another catch later on. No, he only had 1 catch. Oh, my fault. Why did I think he had 2 catches? Why did I think Rashad Bateman had 2 catches? I remember the one he had that brought them to the goal line. Why do I think he had 2? Man, I don't even remember. But anyway, play calling. Let's talk about the play calling. Keaton Mitchell, he was doing this thing on that one drive, and then I don't think we saw him on offense ever again after that. I don't think we saw him not one single time on offense again after that. So that's still sort of the same. Again, the Ravens won, but it's still important to highlight the issues even with a win. Shout out to Pat Ricard. Pat Ricard made such a big difference with Derrick Henry. Had Pat Ricard not been out there, Derrick Henry maybe gets half of those yards. Maybe. That's a big maybe. Pat Ricard clears the way so much for Derrick Henry. He helps out a lot. So shout out to Pat Ricard. And shout out to Pat Ricard getting that big first down on that 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2. And that was a very unpredictable play call. I was for sure it was going to Derrick Henry, or maybe Lamar was going to keep. And they did the handoff to Pat Ricard. I said, oh, Todd Monken, you slide dog, man. I said, okay, now I like that. Because I didn't see it coming. I really didn't. There was another play call where Todd Monken, it was like a Lamar keeper, and he had Lamar, I think he ran out to the left side of the offensive line, and they set up the blocks and whatnot, and Lamar tried to jump over somebody, but when they were on the ground, but then they were getting up, and that's what ended up making the tackle. So he got to the 1 yard line. And then I think that was the same drive where they tried to run it in, it obviously didn't work, but then they had Lamar in shotgun on the goal line. I'm not sure if it was that drive or not, but he was in the shotgun on the goal line, and then he didn't really roll out to the right, but he moved to the right a little bit and then threw that strike to Mark Andrews, who had dropped the touchdown earlier, but he made up for it. So it was just nice to see the that unpredictable play calling, man, because I didn't think that they were going to do that. But it just worked out so nice. It just worked out so well. Lamar Jackson he be putting that ball in the perfect spots, man. A lot of times it works, sometimes it gets dropped, but it is what it is. That's part of the game, man. Every play ain't gonna go perfect. But it was nice. It's always nice when it works out. You love seeing that. The offensive line, they still an issue, especially in short yardage too. They're still an issue. Oh, another one, Todd Monken, good job. Because on the pole push, they set it up like Mark Andrews was getting ready to try to push it forward. The goal, I think it was 3rd and 1. Maybe it was 3rd and 2. I think it was 3rd and 1 though. But and Lamar was just sitting back there like he wasn't about to do nothing. But then they tossed it to Lamar, and Lamar ran it and got the first. I said, oh, okay, Ravens. Y'all filling out some stuff, huh? And I mean, you needed to, because the offense wasn't, they were struggling this game big time. But you see 27 points, but when you watch the game, you saw that struggle. But what's amazing to say is that this team, in a game where they weren't clicking all the way on offense, they still put up 27 points against a really good Minnesota Vikings defense, against a really good Minnesota Vikings Brian Flores defensive coordinator. They still put up 27 points, and they weren't even all the way on point. They had all these drops, all these miscues, but they still put up 27 points. This offense can be something serious, man. They really can be. And every opponent ain't going to be that tough, but it was progress. They pulled out some stuff when they needed to. They didn't get cute when they didn't need to, but they made the adjustments, they made the changes, they made the switches, and he countered Brian Flores' amazing defense in a nice way. So shout out to Lamar, shout out to Todd Monken, shout out to this Baltimore Ravens offense as a whole. Special teams, we talked about Tyler Loop. He went 4 for 5, and on the one that he missed, I was saying I would not have kicked it. I would not have kicked. I think it was like a 56-yard field goal. I would have just punted the ball. Reason being because with Tyler Loop, his kicks are very weird. He's only missed 2, and the 2 kicks that he missed, I don't think the Ravens should have tried to kick them at all. Either one. One was in right before halftime against the Texans, and that kick would not have made a difference in the game at all. And the other one was in this game where I thought they should have punted the ball. But with Tyler Loop's kicks, he obviously hasn't been making most of them, which is great. That's phenomenal. But they just been very close. They've been very close to hitting the upright, so I wouldn't have been comfortable having him kick that long kick yet. Obviously, we wish he would have made it, and that could have been great for his confidence, nice confidence boost, but I wouldn't have had him make or go for that yet. But shout out to him. Shout out to the special teams unit that forced 2 fumbles on number 4, their kick returner. And I was surprised they even left him out there for a 3rd return, but Vikings did, which I had no problem with, but they forced 2 fumbles, and they recovered one of them. That was just so great to see. So shout out to special teams for making a huge play. Defense made huge plays. Special teams made huge plays. Offense made huge plays. It was just a collective effort by this Baltimore Ravens team. Then coaching in this game. I don't know if you all watched the presser from John Harbaugh on Friday, I believe, but listening to him speak, watching his mannerisms, watching his tone, how just everything in that presser, I had not seen him sound that confident in a long time. Like, he just knew, like, oh, I'm going to be on point this game. Todd Monken going to be on point this game. Zach Orr is going to be on point this game. Special teams coach going to be on it. We got a nice game plan to go up against these Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, Lamar Jackson back another week, and you know everything that he does for this team too. But I had never seen him so confident and just, he was so happy. He was just it was a different mood and a different vibe for John Harbaugh. I don't know if y'all felt the same way if you watched that Friday press conference, but he just sounded just so different than he sounded earlier this season. Well, obviously, I mean, they were losing all them games, but it was just a completely different vibe. But great game. Great game, great decision making. Oh, one of the biggest things in this game was early on when they were down 10-3. It was 4th and 2 because they hadn't converted on 3rd down. They had an opportunity where they could have went for it. And I was like, oh, I was 50-50 on it. I was like, if they go for it, I'm going to understand. But if they just kick a field goal and take the points, I'm going to understand too. He took the points. That plays such a big role throughout the rest of the game. It really, because again, they only won by 8. They won by 1 score. So every single point counts. I'm glad they took the points. They trusted the defense because the defense had been playing good. So great job. So shout out to Todd Monken. He did his thing in this game. Again, a very tough defense he was going up against. Shout out to Zach Orr because he was going up against a very tough team with 2 number 1 receivers. I mean, really, you could say 3 number 1 receivers, how we had Jalen Naylor looking. So they got 3 number 1. And Harbaugh actually said that in the presser. He said that they got 3 really good receivers. Because he talked about Justin Jefferson, then he talked about number 3, and he said number 1 as well. And he said they got a really good tight end, that being T.J. Hockenson as well. So they got some, and then they got Aaron Jones, who's a baller, J.J. McCarthy. I think the jury's still out on him. But this team got some nice weapons, but the Baltimore Ravens did what they had to do. So Harbaugh did his thing. Offense, defense, special teams, coaching, they did their thing to make this win happen.